Accessible parking permits are an important tool that helps individuals with mobility challenges maintain independence and access essential services. These permits allow drivers and passengers with qualifying disabilities to park in designated accessible spaces that are closer to entrances and designed to provide extra room for safe movement. However, like many official credentials, disability parking permits have expiration dates. Using an expired permit can lead to serious consequences, including legal penalties, accessibility issues, and unnecessary complications. Understanding the risks associated with using an expired disability parking permit is essential for anyone who relies on accessible parking. A disability parking permit is issued by a state's motor vehicle department after medical certification confirms that an individual has a qualifying mobility impairment. The permit grants access to designated accessible parking spaces, which are designed to make travel safer and more manageable for people with disabilities. These permits are not permanent in every situation. Some are issued for temporary conditions, such as recovery from surgery or injury. Others are issued for long-term disabilities, but still require periodic renewal to confirm that eligibility requirements remain valid. Because of this renewal process, every permit has an expiration date printed clearly on it. Once that date passes, the permit is no longer legally valid. One of the most immediate problems with using an expired permit is the legal risk. Law enforcement officers and parking enforcement personnel regularly monitor accessible parking spaces. If they see a permit that has expired, they may treat the vehicle as if it does not have a valid permit at all. This can lead to fines and citations, which may be substantial depending on the jurisdiction. In many areas, penalties for illegally parking in an accessible space can range from hundreds of dollars to even higher amounts. Even if the driver originally qualified for the permit, an expired permit is considered invalid under the law. In addition to fines, some areas may impose additional penalties, such as vehicle towing. If a vehicle is towed, the driver must pay towing and storage fees to retrieve it. This can create a significant financial burden and unnecessary stress. Another concern is that using an expired permit can create confusion during enforcement checks. Parking officers often rely on the expiration date to verify whether a permit is valid. If the permit has expired, it may raise suspicion that the permit is being misused or that the driver no longer qualifies for accessible parking. This can lead to additional scrutiny or further investigation. Beyond legal consequences, expired permits can also create accessibility challenges. Accessible parking spaces are limited resources that are specifically designed for individuals with qualifying mobility impairments. When someone uses an expired permit, it can create uncertainty about whether that person still qualifies for the space. If expired permits are widely used without renewal, it becomes more difficult to ensure that accessible spaces remain available for those who genuinely need them. Another issue arises when individuals forget that their permit has expired. Many people rely on their permit daily and may not regularly check the expiration date. If renewal reminders are missed or paperwork is delayed, a driver might unknowingly continue using an expired permit. This can lead to unexpected fines and frustration when enforcement officers issue a citation. Renewing a disability parking permit is usually a straightforward process, but it must be completed before the expiration date. In most states, renewal involves submitting updated paperwork to the Department of Motor Vehicles. Some renewals require a new medical certification from a healthcare provider, while others allow for simple administrative renewal if the condition is permanent. Understanding your state's renewal requirements can help ensure that your permit remains valid. Planning ahead is the best way to avoid problems. Many states send renewal notices before a permit expires, but these notices may not always arrive or may be overlooked. Keeping track of the expiration date and starting the renewal process early helps prevent lapses in validity. Renewing early also provides time to gather any necessary documentation from medical professionals. Another challenge associated with expired permits is the potential loss of accessibility during the renewal process. If a permit expires before renewal is completed, the individual may temporarily lose legal access to accessible parking spaces. This can make everyday tasks more difficult. Trips to medical appointments, grocery stores, or workplaces may become physically demanding without access to nearby parking. To avoid this situation, it is helpful to begin the renewal process well before the permit expires. Many states allow renewals several weeks or months in advance. It is also important to understand that disability parking permits are issued for specific individuals. The permit should only be used when the person to whom it was issued is present in the vehicle. Allowing others to use the permit without the eligible individual present is considered misuse and may lead to penalties. Similarly, using an expired permit may appear to enforcement officers as misuse, even if the original permit holder still qualifies. Another issue involves traveling with an expired permit. While many states recognize disability parking permits issued by other states, an expired permit may not be recognized anywhere. This can create complications when traveling or visiting unfamiliar areas where parking enforcement may be stricter. Ensuring that your permit is current helps prevent misunderstandings and ensures that you can access accessible parking wherever it is legally recognized. For individuals with temporary permits, expiration dates are especially important. Temporary permits are often issued for specific recovery periods, such as several months following surgery or injury. Once the recovery period ends, the permit expires automatically. If mobility limitations continue beyond the expected recovery time, the individual may need to reapply or obtain a new medical certification to extend the permit. Permanent permits may also require periodic renewal depending on state regulations. Even though the disability may be long-term, renewal helps confirm that the permit holder's information remains accurate. Keeping your permit current also helps maintain the integrity of accessible parking programs. These programs exist to ensure fair access to parking spaces for individuals with mobility challenges. When permits are properly renewed and monitored, it helps prevent fraud and misuse. Accessible parking is an essential part of public accessibility infrastructure. It allows individuals with mobility impairments to participate in everyday activities, from attending medical appointments to shopping, working, and socializing. A valid disability parking permit ensures that these spaces are used appropriately and remain available for those who depend on them. To avoid legal risks and accessibility challenges, drivers should regularly check their permit's expiration date and begin the renewal process early. Staying organized with renewal paperwork and medical documentation helps ensure that the permit remains valid. Ultimately, keeping your disability parking permit up to date protects your legal parking privileges, reduces stress, and helps preserve accessible parking spaces for everyone who relies on them. We hope this video helped answer your questions. If you need a handicapped placard or plate and want to avoid the confusion and long wait times, visit handicapparking.com. Our licensed doctors are available online to help you from the comfort of your home, making the process simple and stress-free. Subscribe for more helpful information on disabled parking permits, and leave a comment if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.